The world is full of passionate anglers, masters of casting a rod into the water and pulling something impressive from the depths. But some catches are so enormous, they make the average haul look like mere tiddlers. There are moments when it's hard to believe a human could possibly reel in something so massive. These are the biggest catches of all time. Number 15. A giant 27-pound lobster caught in Maine. And in the red corner, weighing in at 27 pounds of pure punching power, a lobster used to a much more miniature catch. Maine fisherman Robert Malone was in for a big shock when he hauled in a colossal crustacean in his net. Not unfamiliar with the odd lobster, of course, Malone was taken aback by the sheer scale of this massive lobster. The creature's claws were so large they looked like they could crush a coconut with ease, and its body was the size of a small dog. As Malone carefully lifted the lobster from the net, he couldn't help but marvel at its sheer weight and the strength it must have taken to grow to such an impressive size. He found it notable enough to deliver the creature to the Maine State Aquarium for further scientific investigation. The aquarium staff were equally stunned, with one biologist joking that they might need to reinforce the tank to hold such a heavyweight champion. Was this a new monster species or a Jurassic Park escapee? Turns out, no, just a regular lobster. This one, however, did capture the imagination of those who encountered it, being the biggest example many have ever seen. Nicknamed Rocky on account of the crustacean's enormous boxing glove-like claws, this lucky lobster was returned to the ocean after the aquarium had taken down its vital statistics. I wonder if Rocky is still out there, running up flights of stairs and bulking up in training to knock out the next unsuspecting fisherman to catch him in his net. Number 14. 700-pound alligator in Georgia. Is this the biggest alligator ever caught? Discovered in an irrigation ditch by a Georgia farmer, this gigantic creature measured an extraordinary 15 feet long and weighed an estimated 700 to 750 pounds. Alligators are unusual in that they continue to grow as they get older, so the bigger an alligator is, the older it is likely to be. This hulking gator is estimated to have been at least 50 years old, which is flipping ancient in alligator years. Not only was he old, this reptile was super tough. The capture itself was a Herculean effort, with the 5-man crew using ropes, sheer strength, and a lot of nerve to subdue the beast. The alligator thrashed and roared, its massive tail slamming against the ground like a wrecking ball, as the team struggled to keep it under control. When eventually captured after a 5-man crew wrangled the extraordinary animal for over 5 hours to get him out of the ditch, they discovered that the gator had evidence of several gunshot wounds, a big old badass like an actual dinosaur. The scars on its thick, armored hide told stories of past battles, and its sheer size made it clear why it had survived so long in the wild. Since being removed from the endangered list in 1987, alligators are hunted during different seasons in various U.S. states they inhabit. In Georgia, hunters are limited to 1 kill during the season. I imagine many of those hunters looked on with total disbelief at the massive size of this beast. Number 13. Pacific Bluefin Tuna. All the big fish need to look out. This angler only catches the biggest of all the big fishes. Donna Pascoe, an angler from Auckland, New Zealand, has been busy breaking records all over the ocean. First, on the 20th of February 2014, she wrangled for more than 4 hours with a colossal Pacific bluefin tuna, which weighed in at a rod-snappingly huge 411.6 kilograms. The battle was intense, with the tuna diving deep and pulling line with such force that it seemed like it might snap at any moment. Pascoe's arms ached, and her determination was tested, but she held on, knowing that this could be the catch of a lifetime. Pascoe then became the record holder for having pulled in the most gigantic fish ever by a female fisher in New Zealand, a whopper of a record. Then, things get a bit spooky and even bigger. 3 years later, on the very same date, February 20th, Pascoe was out on the water again when the fishing line peeled, indicating that there was something on the end of it. Little did she know that the fish at the end of the line was yet another record buster. This time, a massive marlin at 420 kilograms was about to enter the record books, beating Donna Pascoe's own record for the tuna. The marlin put up an even fiercer fight, leaping out of the water and twisting in the air like a silver missile, but Pascoe's experience and skill prevailed. I guess February 20th must be a date that big fish fear, if they keep a calendar, that is. Number 12. 143-pound catfish. New world record blue catfish caught at Bugs Island Lake in Virginia. In the catfish world, the blue catfish is the big daddy of all catfish, with massive big fat cats being sought and caught fairly regularly. But the gigantic blue catfish caught by high school football coach Nick Anderson on June 18, 2011, was something totally gargantuan. Weighing in at 143 pounds, this catfish colossus was 57 inches long and an impressive 47 inches in girth. That is one fat fish. Just look at the size of it. The fishermen caught this monster at Bugs Island Lake in Virginia, a hot spot for catfish capture by all accounts. The battle to reel it in was nothing short of epic, with the rod bending nearly in half and the line screaming as the fish fought with all its might. Nick's arms ached, and his heart raced as he realized he was up against a true leviathan of the deep. It took a sweaty 45-minute wrestling match to finally retrieve the giant fish from the waters into the boat. The anglers then had the difficult task of finding a scale that was a match for the epic proportions of this massive catfish. The previous hauls from this particular lake leveled out around the 109-pound mark. Virginia is a tricky place to be a catfish, it turns out. Not only is it likely that one of the local angling enthusiasts will be hauling you out of a lake at any given moment, there is now a bounty on your head. Considered an invasive species, this poor ugly creature is now being pursued by agencies in the state of Virginia, encouraging the capture of the blue catfish by opening up the state's waters to commercial fishing. The goal to eradicate the blue catfish from Virginia. Number 11. The Atlantic Goliath Grouper. You may need to make friends with an NFL linebacker before you head out to catch an Atlantic Goliath grouper. It takes the strength of a professional athlete to reel in one of these whoppers. That's how it was done by one group of anglers in Florida as they encountered increasingly bigger fish, from 400 pounds through to an estimated 600. These gigantic fish measure at least 8 feet and can actually weigh up to 700 pounds. Just so you can get your head around that weight, that's heavier than a fully grown male tiger. But perhaps you've never attempted to pick up a tiger either. The sheer power of a Goliath grouper is awe-inspiring. Their massive bodies can create a shockwave in the water as they move, startling even the most experienced divers. The biggest of the sea bass family, the Goliath grouper is scarily efficient at feeding. It simply sucks its prey into its huge mouth. All kinds of stuff gets swallowed up, from other large fish and even the odd small shark. This hungry fish doesn't even need to chew. A very important part of the reef food web, this mammoth fish is actually now on the critically endangered list. Fishing the Atlantic Goliath grouper is forbidden, so if you do accidentally find one on the end of your line, you should be sure to return it to the ocean. Don't mess with them, though, as many anglers report that the Goliath grouper can be kind of aggressive, harassing the fishermen and often taking the bait from their lines, preventing the catch of any smaller, legal-sized fish. Now it's time for today's topic. While exploring the pristine waters of the Coral Triangle, marine researchers were astonished to come across what they initially identified as the world's first albino leatherback sea turtle. The massive creature was spotted basking on the deck of their research vessel, its shell and skin displaying a brilliant, pure white hue. At first glance, the team celebrated the discovery as a breakthrough, believing they had uncovered an exceedingly rare albino specimen. However, as further analysis began, the story took an unexpected twist. Genetic testing and close examination revealed that this was not an albino turtle at all. It lacked the defining characteristics of albinism, such as red or pink eyes. Instead, this was a completely white leatherback turtle, an entirely different phenomenon never before documented. Unlike albinism, this turtle's coloration was determined by an entirely unique genetic mutation that puzzled and excited scientists. The researchers were left in awe of this incredible find, speculating on the evolutionary reasons behind its unusual pigmentation. This turtle, with its stark white appearance, has sparked questions about the hidden wonders of the ocean and what other mysteries lie beneath the waves. For now, this remarkable creature stands as a testament to nature's endless surprises. Number 10. The biggest Greenland shark. Whilst out kayaking in Greenland in 2014, surprised angler Joel Abrahamson captured the biggest Greenland shark on record. Sounds like a relaxing weekend's paddle, no? At 15 feet long, the Greenland shark gave the angler a tricky job. Strapping himself into a harness, he wrestled with the behemoth for an hour and a half before eventually getting the upper hand over this 200-year-old creature. The shark's slow, deliberate movements belied its immense strength as it pulled against the line with the weight of a small car. Joel's arms burned with exhaustion, but he held on, determined to land the ancient predator. The shark's rough, sandpaper-like skin and eerie, almost translucent eyes gave it an otherworldly appearance, as if it had swum straight out of a prehistoric era. As the battle raged on, the icy waters of Greenland churned around them, the shark's massive tail creating waves that threatened to capsize the kayak. Joel's heart pounded in his chest as he realized the sheer magnitude of what he was up against, a creature that had survived centuries in the frigid depths. The shark's movements were deliberate and powerful, each tug on the line sending shockwaves through Joel's body, testing his endurance to its limits. Despite the exhaustion, Joel couldn't help but marvel at the shark's ancient beauty, its body a testament to the resilience of life in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The cold air bit at his face, but the adrenaline coursing through his veins kept him focused, his determination unwavering as he inched closer to victory. You'd think a fit guy like this, who prepared for the challenge by heaving 60-pound blocks of concrete from the bottom of the lake, could get the better of a pensioner, right? This ancient beast was a colossus, however, and weighed a staggering 1,200 pounds, perhaps a little more than the average elderly fish. The shark's age was estimated based on its size, as these creatures grow at a glacial pace, adding only about a centimeter per year. Greenland sharks are known for their longevity, with some individuals believed to live for over 400 years, making them one of the oldest living vertebrates on the planet. So, credit where it's due and all that. Number 9. World's largest cave fish discovered in India. Okay, so compared to some of the other colossal creatures we've encountered in this list, these cave fish may not seem up to much, but it's all relative, and these little big fish have been causing quite a commotion in the world of cave science. There are maybe 250 species of cave fish, but the ones that have recently been discovered in northeastern India have scientists wondering. Cave fish are usually really small. It's tough to live underground. There isn't much to eat and no light. It usually means that these sorts of animals only grow to a couple of inches. These newly discovered fish, though, are 1.5 feet long and 10 times heavier. Imagine the shock of finding a fish the size of a small dog in the pitch-black, cramped confines of a cave, where most creatures are barely the size of your thumb. The discovery has left scientists baffled, as these fish seem to defy the very rules of cave biology. Thriving in an environment where food is scarce and survival is a constant struggle. So, the question is, how are they growing this big? What are they eating? The scientists don't really know yet. Like other troglobites, a cool word for cave dwellers, these fish are essentially blind and don't have eyes. But despite all the trouble that suggests, they are well adapted to their darkness and underground existence. In fact, the weird thing about these cave fish is that scientists think that they are probably still in the process of evolving into whatever the best adaptation of the cave creature might be. This is equally awesome and scary. What other functions do you imagine a cave creature might need? Legs? Claws? Giant fangs? Number 8. The giant stingray. Is this the largest freshwater fish in the world? I know you can't believe any old big fish story you hear, but hang on a minute, this one is a big one. Also known as the whip ray, the giant stingray is the stuff of legends. Rarely seen, but with local tales telling of gigantic 1,000-pound fish, this species is the prize for anglers looking for something epic. In 2009, it was announced that the largest catch of this incredible creature had been documented on an expedition by National Geographic in the waters of Thailand. The colossal catch measured 2 meters, 6.6 feet, wide and a mighty 6.9 feet, 2.1 meters, long. Imagine the sight of it gliding through the water, its massive wingspan casting shadows on the riverbed like a living stealth bomber. The researchers were awestruck as they carefully measured the creature, its smooth, speckled skin glistening under the sunlight. The sheer power of the stingray was evident as it gently flapped its wings, creating ripples that seemed to echo through the river. Local fishermen, who had long whispered about such giants, watched in silent reverence as the team worked to document the find. The stingray's size was so immense that it took several people to stabilize it, their hands barely spanning its width. This poor creature, though, had lost its tail. I wonder if they named it Eeyore. If it had still been attached, it is likely that this ray would have measured up to 5 meters long. Unfortunately, it seems as though they got the giant stingray's measurements, but they didn't weigh it, so we can only guess that it was likely to have weighed at least 450 kilograms, being the heaviest of its species previously known to humankind. While scientists are still searching and discovering more about this huge fish, we can only imagine just how many giant stingrays actually exist and perhaps even bigger versions yet to be found. Maybe these are just the babies. Number 7. The striped bass fish. You can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish unless, of course, you play bass. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help it. So many fishy puns, so little time. The striped bass is the beloved catch of seasoned anglers and fishermen all over North America. These fish usually weigh in at about 20 to 40 pounds at adult weight, but every once in a while, a fish comes along to make a guy's or gal's day and provide them with big fish stories to tell for years to come. Picture this. The line screams as the rod bends nearly in half, and the angler's heart races as they realize they've hooked something truly massive. The fight can last for what feels like an eternity, with the fish darting and diving, testing every ounce of the angler's skill and patience. Imagine the adrenaline rush as the fish leaps out of the water, its silver scales glinting in the sunlight, and the angler's hands trembling as they struggle to keep the line tight. The sound of the reel spinning wildly echoes across the water, a symphony of tension and excitement that only a fisherman can truly understand. Sweat drips from the angler's brow as they brace themselves against the boat's edge, their muscles burning with the effort of reeling in the beast. The striped bass, a master of evasion, makes one last desperate run, stripping yards of line and leaving the angler breathless with anticipation. The crowd on the shore watches in awe, their cheers growing louder as the fish finally tires and begins to surface. Some of these tales will be told and retold till that big old fish has gained 50 pounds and grown a full beard and popped out of the water singing, "Take me to the river," like a big-mouth Billy bass from the 90s. Occasionally, a 60-pounder comes your way, and that is a great day indeed. and there are certainly tales of 90-pound monsters. The biggest recorded striped bass was actually pulled from Long Island Sound by angler Gregory Meyerson in 2011. It weighed almost 82 pounds and measured 54 inches long, basically a walloping big whale. Number 6. 12.5-foot giant big-eye thresher shark caught in the Florida Keys. Aliens have landed. You can be forgiven for thinking this was an extraterrestrial life form given its bizarre appearance, but this is not leaked footage from inside Area 51. This bug-eyed alien was actually caught in the waters just off the Florida Keys. Captain Nick Stancic of Isla Morada is a seasoned fisherman who takes excited groups out on very successful fishing trips for swordfish. He is the best there is in this challenge, having caught and released more swordfish than anyone else on the planet. So, this guy knows how to catch the big stuff. But even he was surprised when, after a 2.5-hour wrestling match, what the team actually reeled in was not a swordfish but an enormous big-eye thresher shark. The shark's long, whip-like tail thrashed violently, sending sprays of water everywhere as the crew struggled to keep their balance. Its enormous eyes, adapted for hunting in the dark depths, seemed to stare right through them, adding an eerie vibe to the already intense encounter. The crew couldn't believe their luck or their exhaustion, as they finally managed to bring the massive predator alongside the boat. The shark's sleek, silvery body glistened in the sunlight, and its massive tail, which can be as long as its body, whipped through the air like a weapon. These cool-looking monsters have huge eyes so they can hunt at deep levels in the ocean where the light is low and then towards the surface at night in the dark too. The big-eye thresher shark also makes for a pretty weird selfie, so all the folks out on the boat that day uploaded a pretty unique post on Instagram. That shark was definitely doing it for the gram. Looks insane even in low light. Number 5. The largest bull sharks ever caught. Most people have heard of great white sharks, and they are definitely to be avoided if you value your limbs. But as it happens, you should probably know that most shark attacks on humans are probably actually bull sharks. These toothsome frights are often recorded traveling vast distances in warmer waters, and they aren't fussy if that water is the ocean, an estuary, or a river. Bull sharks are also known as Zambezi sharks due to just how often they pop up for a snack in the Zambezi River. The largest ever caught and measured was during a survey of those formidable beasts in the Breed Estuary in South Africa in 2009. The humongous female was measured at a whopping 4 meters. Imagine the sight of her gliding through the murky waters, her powerful frame cutting through the current like a living torpedo. Her sheer size was enough to send shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned researchers. I don't know how big that makes her teeth, but I wouldn't want to poke about in there to find out. The research team recorded this bull shark's info, tagged her, and sent her off again. The shark's behavior was then tracked for the following couple of days. What they discovered was super scary. The shark did take a little jaunt out to sea but mainly spent her time idly perusing the boats on the river and anglers on the shore, eyeing up a snack or two. All those arms and legs looking like cartoon hands. Seems like she was taking notes on the latest dining hotspots along the estuary and probably not just to write up a useful guidebook of the area. If I were you, I would avoid a dip in those waters. Number 4. Massive tiger shark caught off Australia. Although the tiger shark is more likely to be doing the catching, there are occasions when a truly gigantic tiger shark is captured, either by accident or indeed by those out seeking trophies or perhaps even revenge. Some of the most dangerous sharks in the world's oceans, tiger sharks are only second to the fearsome great white shark in their body counts or for attacks on humans. They are frequently responsible for attacks on surfers in Australian waters, and many well-defined kill orders on their heads. These creatures are considered near endangered in the contemporary world, as there has been so much trophy hunting and fishing by people in recent years. Stories of their ferocity are legendary, with tales of them biting through boat hulls and even chewing on car tires. Their reputation as the garbage cans of the sea is well-earned, as they've been found with everything from license plates to tires in their stomachs. No wonder these mighty creatures are mad at people and would bite your leg off as soon as look at you. Some of the biggest examples of the tiger shark that have ever been fished are recorded at 5 meters long. There are some tall tales out there, though, with some insane stories attached, like that of the fisherman known only as Matthew, who is alleged to have caught a massive tiger shark off the coast of Byron Bay in Australia in 2015. Much to the entertainment of the entire internet, this guy claimed that he had caught the toothy whopper as it swallowed whole a smaller hammerhead shark that he had been reeling in. A fishy tale indeed. Number 3. Massive whale shark in Pakistan. The largest of the sharks, the whale shark is a mighty ocean beast. But the colossal creature caught in the Arabian Sea by a group of Pakistani fishermen is a terrifyingly large example. The fishermen discovered the already dead whale shark and took it back to Karachi, Pakistan. Measuring 40 feet long, this huge catch was a sight to behold. The sheer size of the shark left the fishermen in awe, its massive body stretching longer than most boats in the harbor. Crowds gathered as the creature was hauled ashore, its speckled skin glistening under the sun, a reminder of the ocean's hidden giants. Children gasped, and adults snapped photos, marveling at the rare and unfortunate sight of such a majestic creature out of its element. The whale shark's mouth, wide enough to swallow a small car, was a chilling reminder of its place as the ocean's gentle giant. Despite its size, the whale shark is a filter feeder, surviving on plankton and small fish, making its capture even more tragic. Upon reaching the harbor, the gigantic carcass was hoisted onto the shore to display to amazed crowds of people before being sold for meat. Disturbing but fascinating. The rarely spotted whale shark is actually a protected species, so don't even think about powering up your tugboat and trying to reel in one of these epic creatures. Number 2. 100-kilogram giant Siamese carp fishing in Thailand. Always a great prize for a fisherman, a massive fish is the ultimate goal. If you catch a fish that is twice the size of any usual catch, then that has to be considered a great day. That's what the anglers in Thailand felt when they caught the 3 gigantic carp that made up their haul. The first was an 80-kilogram giant Siamese carp, the biggest they had ever seen. The battle to reel it in was nothing short of epic, with the rod bending nearly in half and the line screaming as the fish fought with all its might. The anglers' arms burned with exhaustion, but they held on, determined to land the Leviathan. As they finally pulled the colossal fish onto the boat, cheers erupted, and they marveled at its sheer size, its scales glistening like polished silver under the sun. The second carp, an astonishing 100-kilogram behemoth, tested their endurance even further, its powerful tail thrashing against the water as if challenging their resolve. Sweat dripped from their brows as they wrestled with the monstrous fish, their muscles screaming in protest but their spirits unyielding. The sound of the line whirring under tension was deafening, and the boat rocked violently as the carp made one last desperate attempt to escape. When it finally surrendered, the fishermen stood in awe, their breaths heavy, staring at the creature that seemed to defy the laws of nature. The sheer weight of the fish made it a Herculean task to lift it onto the boat, and they could barely believe their eyes as it lay there, a true titan of the water. What followed was an astonishing catch of a single gargantuan carp of 100 kilograms. The fishermen were stunned, their arms aching from the effort as they struggled to bring the behemoth aboard. It was a fish so large it seemed almost mythical, like something out of a fisherman's wildest dreams. They couldn't believe it. Finally, and somewhat disappointingly, a regular old 50-kilogram carp rounded off the day's fishing. Carpe diem. When you consider that carp generally only weigh up to about 40 to 50 kilograms, and that's the big ones, then this is an awesomely impressive catch. Number 1. Massive whale shark snared by Chinese fishermen. I don't know about you, but this next one sounds a bit fishy to me. Sorry, no more carp puns, I promise. This whale shark met its sad end in an alleged accident with a net. Captain Chong Zhu, a Chinese fisherman, caught this colossal fish off the coast of the Fujian province back in 2014. It was alleged that the 14.5-foot fish, which weighed a mammoth 2 tons, was accidentally caught in the fishing boat's net, where it died while the fishermen tried to free it. The sight of the massive creature tangled in the net, its enormous mouth agape and its speckled skin glistening under the sun, was both awe-inspiring and heartbreaking. As the fishermen attempted to untangle the whale shark, its sheer size made the task nearly impossible, their hands trembling under the weight of the situation. The gentle giant, known for its docile nature, seemed to stare blankly at the sky, a haunting reminder of the fragility of marine life. Locals gathered as the fishermen struggled to haul the lifeless giant ashore, its sheer size drawing gasps from the crowd. The air was thick with tension as whispers of disbelief and anger spread among the onlookers, many of whom had never seen such a magnificent creature up close. The fishermen, visibly shaken, claimed ignorance, but the suspicious timing of the catch raised eyebrows among conservationists. But since the whale shark is an endangered species and it is very illegal to catch one, you probably would say it was an accident too, wouldn't you? Whether there was something more sinister afoot or not, the captain took the behemoth through the streets of Shaoxi to market with the intention of selling the unfortunate beast. This caused quite the outrage, and eventually, authorities prevented the sale on the grounds that it was still illegal. What do you reckon? Does this tale seem to have a whiff of fish about it? Well, how is all that fishy business for you? There are certainly some Titanic-sized creatures out there in the deep. What do you reckon? I think we're gonna need a bigger boat. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now. See you next time.